this project is the Silhouette Nativity project, and we're going to be making a beautiful nativity scene out of black paper, and it will be cut out, and through that image you'll see a painted background. So to start with, we'll prepare the painted background, and you just simply paint your paper all over. You can use all one color, or if you really wanted to be creative, you could use a few different colors and have them all sort of shine through and illuminate your picture. But for this project right now, I'm just gonna do all over one color, and I'm going to be showing you a special technique that you can use that gives it sort of a star effect. And for this to work, you have to have your paper quite wet, so it will look pretty shiny. And then if you'd like to do the star effect, you can sprinkle just a little bit of salt across your paper. You don't want to use a lot of salt on this because it does not work if you use a lot. You just want a little bit of salt crystals sparingly applied, and what will happen is the salt will absorb the paint in these sort of little star-like pattern, and it's quite beautiful to see. So while this is drying and that star pattern is starting to develop, we will start working on our silhouette. So I'll put this aside, and now we're going to be cutting out our silhouette. So to begin with, we have a pattern, and we have a piece of black paper, and we also have a piece of graphite paper. This is basically a paper that has pencil lead or graphite colored all over it. You turn this over so that the graphite side is touching the construction paper. And then you place your silhouette on top of that. And it's probably a good idea if you tape it down to hold it still so it doesn't shift while you're trying to transfer your image. Next, trace your image as accurately as you can. Take your time, because this line is going to be the one on which you cut, so you want it to look as neat as possible. I'm using a lot of pressure so that my image comes through. And I'm also using a really thick, heavy pencil, which is quite strong, so I can use a lot of pressure without breaking the tip. Well, that's not perfect. Let me redo that. I'll be just cutting it off anyway, so it's okay if you make a small mistake. Just try to correct it. You don't even have to erase it. Don't erase it, because the pressure that you would use with your eraser might smudge your design, so just leave it. Okay, so now you can check and see if it transferred. Peel this back, and you should be able to see the graphite has been transferred onto your construction paper. So save your graphite paper and save your silhouette image. Now we're going to be cutting this out. And to do this, we're going to be using a cutting board. This is very important to use this cutting mat, and an X-Acto knife. Be very careful with the X-Acto knife, please. I don't want you to get hurt. The one thing that you need to know about X-Acto knives is you have to pull the blade toward the hand like this, and while holding the paper with the other hand in a place that is far away from the blade. See, the blade is going straight up and down. You can't cut sideways with this. It has to be pulled this direction. That's the way the blade is designed. So anytime you want to do a line, it's easier if you turn the board so that you can pull the blade toward you, because there's no way to cut it by pushing it forward. It just isn't designed that way. The sharp part of the blade is pointing down. So you will always be moving this around so that it's easier for you to pull this towards you. I'm going to save the outside edge for later. And for now, I'm just going to be cutting out the smaller images first. I think that will make it a little easier for me. Keep your hand well out of the way of the blade at all times. Never point at somebody with an X-Acto knife. Always keep it pointing down. You wouldn't want to have a slip of the hand and have a terrible accident to happen, so don't even joke around with these things. As you can see, I keep rotating this around so that I can pull the blade towards me because it's easier to cut that way. I'm going to shut off the camera now and complete this cutting, and then I'll show you the finished result. But before I do, I want to show you what's happening with this painting. The salt crystals have absorbed some of the pigment from the paint, and we have this beautiful special effect.